Apologise for any mess you see around the house in my next few videos. I'm plant sitting for my mother-in-law, and I'm also decorating, so you might see a ladder every now and then, you might see just rubbish here and there, so please do forgive me for that. I really like the way Kushi from Pyar Ka Kya Naam Doon, the way her chunni is always really close to her neckline. Now initially I thought it was just being scrunched up and put there, but when you look carefully you can see that the piece is actually fitted and designed so that it's really thin around here and then it falls out normally. And I thought to myself, maybe they're just pieces that are made, you know, it's an outfit that is made like that. But I just thought to myself, can I actually do this to any of my dupattas and get the same look? Now, I tried it with a really big, normal, full-size dupatta and I couldn't do it. There was just too much material and it wouldn't sit flat. But this is sort of like the half-size dupatta. You'll see it in the video. And it's very thin material. There's not too much, there's no stonework or anything up here that can keep it padded. So if you want to try this, you want to use a dupatta that's, you know, that's quite easily foldable and work with. But anyway, what I've done is I've taken a normal dupatta and I've made this dupatta piece so that it looks like the Kushi dupatta. I also noticed that Arohi from, the name of the serial, the Indian TV serial escapes me now, but her dupattas were also like this. So you know, I just think it's a really nice look, and I'm wearing it with a you know, a normal sort of long kameez with churidar. So for this project you're going to need a dupatta that's not very wide. This is one of the smaller width dupattas. You want it to have a nice border at the top, down the sides, but you don't want it too busy in the middle. You certainly don't want any stonework. And what I've done is I've already folded it in half. Just put a dressmaking pin where the middle point is, so I know that that's, you know, so I can mark it off and I don't lose it. And I'm going to open it back out. So that it's completely flat out front. There's my halfway point. I'm just going to look at where I want to start folding this dupatta. Okay, so I'm just going to gently lay the scarf and start folding it, just roughly, so I can see whether, you know, I like the way the folds come together at the very end. I'm just going to really play with the fabric. No, see, that doesn't work because I've still got this that I want to make use of, and what I would really like is maybe the gold at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to try a different way. And as I get to the top, I'm going to pleat in slightly just by the amount of the ribbon there, and then fold that over the top and bring this pleat down and then butt this pleat up next to it. I get the pattern that I'm looking for. So I want this to around the neck to not be longer than or wider than 1.5 inches. So that will sit really nicely on the neck. From the sides, the material is just going to start creeping out, can you see? So it's exactly what I'm looking for. And what I'm going to do is use some dressmaking pins to hold that in place. It really is a case of just folding to make the best of whatever design or border you have within your own scarf. Scarves are so different. I can't really say to you, oh, you want to fold it exactly this way. You just need to learn to play with it. So when you're done with that, you want to put it around your neck, being very careful not to stab yourself with these pins, and see whether you like the way it looks. What we've just done is kind of a rough trial, just to try out the style and see, you know, whether you like it, and then just switch it up and change it, you know, to suit the pattern, the design of the scarf or dupatta, chunri, whatever you want to call it. I'm really happy with the way it came out. So what I'm going to do is then really take my time and fold the material. I might iron, as I do each fold, I might iron it in, just so that I know, you know, that nothing's going to move, and really kind of tack it down with, first of all, these pins, and then I'll come back to show you what I've done next. Okay, so this time round I folded the chunri lengthways in half, and then folded that in half on itself. And what I'm going to do is just iron it to get any kinks and things out. And I always iron with a towel on top because I'm more likely to burn it. I'm going to begin folding down the middle now. I'm going to have to keep adjusting the camera because the angle is so bad it doesn't get the whole material in. But I'm going to bring this piece down over towards one edge here, and you can see that now exposes this gold. Where the middle of that is here, so this part, this under part here is the piece that's laying flat, and this top part here is what we've already folded over. I'm going to bring that down to lay on top, not on top of, but just resting this gold border here, so that it keeps it exposed. Then I'm going to bring over this top piece, bring it into frame there, and fold it over that piece that we just laid, and then back over again, so that it just adds another pleat on top of, but still exposing this area here. And then I'm going to fold that top piece over that very last piece here and bend that back until this top border is exposed. Now that gives me a wider piece than we had before, much wider than I actually want. So I'm inclined just to pick up and fold it back on itself, like so. So I get a really thin piece here. And what I'm going to do is, I could lay the iron on that and flatten it right down. But instead I'm just going to sew straight across that middle piece here. And that is just going to hold it in place. You can do tacking stitches if you want at this stage, and then neaten them up later and remove the tacking stitches. I just don't want this to budge, so I'm just going to do some tacking stitches. And while I'm doing this, I'm not moving the material, I'm keeping it dead straight because I need to sort out the sides as well. And I don't want any of these folds to move out of place. I've done this about, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches from the middle. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. So before I begin the final sewing process on this, I'm just going to drape it around my neck and see how it looks, just to make sure I'm really happy with that. I've put it around my neck and it's perfect. It's just the right width. And you know, from when it drops over your shoulder, it drops down from the side here. It's also showing off the right side of the chunri and not the wrong side, as it hangs over on both sides. So that's something else that's really important. Now that I'm really happy with the width and the length of this reduction I've made in the gathering of the chunri, what I'm going to do is start hand sewing in tiny stitches all around the edges in a rectangle shape, just to keep this together quite nicely and to make it, you know, really solid, you know, a solid sort of, I don't know, sculpted piece around the neck, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I've done the stitching along here. This pink that you can see here is actually the tacking stitch that I did to start off with. But what I've done is I've stitched in there, but I've missed off the very top layer here so that you don't see the stitching, but you can see it underneath. And then when I'm ready, I can remove those pink stitches and it will still hold in place. You can see a little bit of the threads have come out of the border, so I'm just going to trim off any of these excess strands that are coming out. Okay, so I'm just going to examine the whole piece now and just make sure that all I can see up where the stitch parts are is just these gold edges, and I don't want to see any of the material seeping out from underneath that. But I can already see that in this corner here some of it's showing, and a little bit here as well. So what I'm going to do is just turn it over and just stitch in anything that I think will gather over. You don't have to be too neat. I just want to catch these in place and not allow them to show through. And I'm going to make sure that none of these stitches penetrate through to the under or to the top of the piece. You don't want them to show through while you're wearing it. That's really wearable on its own, but if you want to improve it even further, you can embellish this area with something that matches your outfit. Now I've just got these lying in the house from another project, so I could add this beautiful velvet. I think it's made of velvet and something tough at the back. So I could easily glue or stitch in this, and that would look nice around my neck. I've got a green one here, but that looks really nice, but it's not, I've got nothing green in my outfit. I could also use a diamante brooch in there too. I could also string together some more of these, which I've got all of these beads at home, so I could actually make some of these and have them dangling across down the neck like that. I think that is also very creative and quite nice, and I could create 3 of these, a set for the middle and a set for either side. You know, the options are endless. I'm going to think about what I want in the middle here. The final thing to do now is just put it on with the outfit and let you see how it looks. Okay, so this is how it falls from the back. And then what I was saying about the dupatta, it just, you can bend down and take anything and it's just not going to fall off my neck, which I really like. I really hope you try this for yourself. If there's any ideas you'd like me to try out and record, then do let me know, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye.